Yo, did y'all peep how Scoop said in his Ball is Life documentary for All In that he said that he feels like Nas can't fuck with him? Like, bro, how do you feel like a nigga that beat you twice can't fuck with you? Anyways, we're going to be going over all the All In games in the form of predictions. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. The first thing that we have is Trey Croft versus Mike Harden. I'm not gonna lie, I like Trey Croft a lot. Trey Croft was a much more competent 1v1 player, and I feel like the only reason why Mike Harden is in this position to where he's getting a pay-per-view event is because he beat Keem recently. But other than that, Mike Harden, I hate to say it because he used to be one of my favorite players back in TNC chapter 1, whatever, the first one, just season 7. I didn't even think they had called it chapters at that point, but just season 7 of the next chapter. And bro, he was one of my favorite players, but I hate to say it, that dude is the reverse Samson. The longer his hair got, the sorrier he got in ones. Like, he's a very mediocre 1v1 player. So I definitely have Trey Croft on this one. Now we have Bijan versus Zay. Bro, what the fuck? I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's really early. Kind of with the Keon and Scoob game, but at least I think that makes a little bit more sense given Keon beat Moon. But like Bijan versus Zay, I feel like Bijan needed Keon maybe. Like, they're two of the best rookies of the year, runner-ups of the year, whatever. I don't know. I feel like there's better matchups for Bijan. I feel like this is very obviously going to be a loss for him. I like his mentality, though. I like Bijan as a player. I think that he is fairly competent in ones, but I mean, you're playing against Zay. So from my perspective, in order for Bijan to win, he's going to need to hit basically all of those quick pull-up threes that he hits on occasion. And those are kind of high difficulty, especially because Zay's going to be playing up close. So, yeah, I just don't think that, like, his one strength, his one viable strategy is just not really something that is gonna be optimal to rely on, especially when you're going against someone of Zay's caliber. And then what is Bijan gonna do on defense against Zay? Yeah, I don't know, bro. Zay beat Lamar Peters 30-20. I don't think there's not much Bijan's gonna do with Zay. I'm sorry. Then you have Jerome versus Latin. This could go either way with the edge to Jerome Randall, but I will say if Latin does pull the win, he needs that Nesco matchup because that's the triangle effect, right? Because Latin beat Jerome, Jerome beat Nesco, now we got to see Nesco and Latin even more. Like, I think that's a matchup that everybody wanted to begin with, but I think that if Latin pulls away with this one, it'll definitely be more so the talk of the town for sure. But I think Jerome, I think his pacing is very unpredictable, and I think that his competence on offense is unlike anybody else on the scene, really. That being said, his one liability is his defense. His defense was not really good. I honestly think that Nesco could have beaten Jerome in that game if he had just hit some more shots because Jerome played pretty poor defense. So Latin, we know, is somebody who's capable of running off on offense. So honestly, I think the interpretation or the assessment of a lot of other players, like Coach Midrange and B. Ellis, it's really whoever gets to 30 first, honestly. And I think that Jerome's offense is just a little bit more potent than Latin's, but we'll see if Latin can come up with a decent defensive strategy. Then I think that it can go either way. Then you have Scoob versus Keon. I'm not going to lie, I like Scoob in this one a lot. Scoob is another one of those level 7 1v1ers along with Zay. along with Rob and Nas. Those are the four like level 7 1v1ers. You guys know like the 7 levels of videos like that have been trending on the internet. Those are the four. Spoiler alert for when I drop mine on the 1v1 community. But yeah, I don't see Scoob losing this one. I think that Scoob is going to play too much defense on Keon. I'm yet to see how Keon really deals with defense like that. I mean, he is very explosive, athletic, and he's good at making it difficult for people to stay attached to him. But I mean, at the end of the day, you have Uncle Scoob, someone whose endurance is extremely competent, probably the best on the scene, someone who isn't as athletic, but definitely very quick on his feet. And yeah, and then Uncle Scoob is his offense. I mean, Keon has long arms, but Scoob is just known for hitting tough shots. And I think that his 3 ball is going to come in clutch. I'd say like maybe 30 to 23 for Uncle Scoob. I think this is where Keon hits a wall, kind of like Bijan. Like, I think this is where these two guys, their momentum is just going to stop. And they're going to have to play around with some with some lower tier players. But, you know, it's pretty exciting to see overall. Then you have Rob versus DA. I'm not going to lie. I have Rob in this one. I think Rob is going to destroy DA. Honestly, first of all, it's very hard to beat somebody twice in such a short span of time. And honestly, it was because Rob kind of gave him the game. And we mean that in the sense of DA ran off. DA is good enough to score on Rob. DA is good enough to beat Rob. You know, I don't think it was a fluke, but I think it's definitely more so attributed to Rob trying to do dumb shit and not thinking that he could lose in that situation and not finishing the job. But I think that he's going to have a really good game plan, good mindset. And it's really right after Rob loses that he goes on a tear. He only lost twice, and after he lost to Scoob, he was untouchable to the point where he even beat Zay. You know, like he went the distance with Zay, and I think that a locked-in Rob is a Rob that can beat Zay. So he's definitely someone who could also beat DA for sure. But DA is a very good player. I don't want people to think that like, oh, DA got lucky or whatever. No, DA is a top tier player as far as what I've seen. And then you have Archie versus Nas. Honestly, I'm starting to think that we're getting fooled. Like, remember when we all thought that like Friga was number 1/number 2 in the scene, and then we're like, oh my god, like this is a good game. Like this is a really good game. Friga versus Nas. This is gonna be a nail biter of a game. And then they played, and then Nas absolutely disrespected Friga 30-7. Remember when Briscoe was talking all that shit? It was like, you don't belong on the same court as me. And then when they played, it looked like he was the one that didn't belong on the same court with Nas. And the only reason why he even got close to winning was because of the crowd and all that bullshit. I mean, okay, Archie isn't Friga. Archie isn't even, like, he's even a step above Briscoe. I'll give it that. Like, he's been in the NBA. But honestly, bro, like, I'm just not sold on Archie. I feel like people are getting ahead of themselves. I think that Archie, the one thing that made me realize that Archie is overestimating himself, because honestly, like he has the credentials, you know, he has the build, he has the athleticism, you know what I mean? He has a bag sort of. And the one thing that was selling me on Archie was that he's locked into the scene and he seems to be very good at analyzing players, and he's not taking it lightly. He's not one of those pros that's like 1v1, how many dribbles is it? Like Briscoe's silly ass. Like he actually pays attention to the scene and he studies, you know what I mean? And he has a pretty good game plan and analysis on Nas, and I've seen, the different kinds of players he's sparring against, and he's definitely trying to get used to certain offensive strategies. And so yeah, like he's definitely a smart player. But the one thing that let me know that he's overestimating his abilities is the fact that he said, yeah, him doing better than I thought would be him getting over 20. I'm like, bro, yeah, this nigga's losing, bro. And if I'm wrong, I will get back on this platform, this channel, and I will say that I was wrong, right? Archie's definitely good enough to beat Nas. I don't think he's winning this one. I think it's going to look somewhat like Nas versus Luis Rodriguez, who was also, well, he was an NBA G League player, but he was also somebody who was smart. He had basically the whole gym in his corner. He had a bag. He's 6'6". He had the wingspan, and he made it a really tough game against Nas, and he still lost. I think Archie will run off. I think that Archie will hit shots that we haven't really seen anybody else hit. Kind of like Jonathan Simmons. It's like, oh my God, we haven't seen anybody kind of play to this capacity before in 1v1. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to beat Nas. Archie, he has a bag, but I predict that he's going to shoot a lot of like fadeaways. I don't think that he's going to shift Nas, and that's really the only way to get past Nas. And then Nas is on demon timing. Like, he's not playing with Archie, I promise you. And that's a different Nas. Just like the Scoob and Lamar, how they turn up when they like start getting shit spoken to them. Like, you don't want to activate their powers, quote unquote. Like, that's going to be Nas coming into this game. And I think that if he adjusts to Archie defensively, I think that, yeah, I think that he can definitely walk away with this game. I think it's going to be like 30-26, 30-27 maybe. But yeah, I don't have Archie winning this game. He absolutely is good enough, but I very much think he's overestimating his capabilities and is underestimating Nas. And Nas is the number one player in this space. He's beaten a prime Scoob. And yeah, that doesn't translate directly into Archie Goodwin. But I mean, he's beaten all types of players, been in certain situations, all types of situations where the game has gone an hour and a half, damn near. I mean, yeah, he's just the most battle tested. I don't understand. Well, I think we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves with this Archie Goodwin stuff. But I could be wrong. Archie's definitely good enough to win. He's definitely going to give Nas problems that Nas hasn't really, seen before. But I just don't have him winning. And if I'm wrong, I'll get back on here and say that. But those are my predictions. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Because LP isn't playing against Latin anymore, I am going to say that I think the LP versus Latin game would have been the same. Like, the margin of score difference between LP and Latin would be the same margin of score difference between Latin and Kel. Like, I think that, like, I think Lat had like the 55-45, you know what I mean? And he beat Kel by that same margin. And I think that LP would have beaten Latin by that same margin. LP's bigger, stronger, faster, has the better shot, has the better defense. The one thing that Lat has over him is the endurance, and Lat has a higher IQ. But other than that, I don't think that's enough to stop a hungry LP who just lost to Zay, who would have gotten in his next pay-per-view. But I do want to, Latin said that matchup will still happen at some point, so I do wish to see that. And when it does happen, I'll have LP. I think that people forget the fact that LP has only really lost clear-cut against really high-level competition. We're not going to count the Joseph Lewis game because that game was like a technical win. So like clear cut was a loss to Scoob and a loss to Zay, who are literally two of the top three players. If you want to throw Rob in there, two of the top four players, two of like the best of the best players. Like, that's I don't know. You don't lose many points. And really, if we want to really get into it, LP beat himself versus Zay. Like LP got more stops on Zay, and he had more open looks than Zay did. He was just being silly as fuck on offense and on defense. He let Zay get 12 free points. But I do think Zay overall is the better 1v1er, so that's not an excuse. But yeah, I think that game, LP versus Latin, I'm mad that LP pulled out of it for whatever reason, because I think that win would have let everybody know that there's a difference between Lamar 1v1ing like the best of the best and then Lamar 1v1ing pretty much everybody else. I strongly think that LP would have taken that game. But again, hopefully if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll see you guys after the event.